All right, in this explainer, we're going to connect some dots. We're talking about a global chip shortage, a pretty controversial military contract, and the fact that most AI projects are, well, they're quietly failing. You're going to see how these stories, which seem totally separate, actually point to one single massive challenge that the entire tech industry is facing right now. Let's dive in. Okay, let's kick things off with a number that's kind of shocking, and it really frames everything we're about to talk about. 60%. That's the percentage of all new AI projects that just completely failed to deliver. But here's the thing. The reason why has less to do with the tech itself and way more to do with something much more human: trust. So, to really understand this crisis of trust, we actually have to start at the very bottom, at the physical foundation of our digital world, the silicon chip. Because right now, that foundation is showing some pretty serious cracks. You know, it's not every day you see tech rivals like Elon Musk and Tim Cook on the same page. But at the recent Davos summit, they issued this rare joint warning about just how vulnerable our supply chains are for the chips that power, well, everything, from our phones to our cars to the massive AI data centers of the future. And look, this isn't just about a few shipping delays making your new phone late. This crisis has had a huge economic impact. We're talking about manufacturing costs getting driven up by a staggering 30%. And you know who pays for that? We all do, from businesses right down to us, the consumers. And here's the kicker. This problem isn't just going to disappear. Analysts are warning that unless there are massive new investments in building chip factories, these shortages could drag on for years, maybe all the way into 2027. That means more delays and higher prices for pretty much everything. But you know, these cracks in the physical supply chain, that's really only half the story. There's another, much deeper conflict brewing in the world of software. It's this ethical battle over what we're even building these machines for. I mean, on one hand, the progress is just mind-blowing. Take a look at Boston Dynamics' new all-electric Atlas robot. It's an absolute marvel of engineering. It's lighter, way more efficient, and more capable than anything we've ever seen. It's a real glimpse of what's possible. But then, on the other side of the coin, you have this massive confrontation brewing between the Pentagon and the AI company Anthropic. We're talking about a deal that could be worth $500 million that is now just teetering on the edge of collapse. So what's this all about? It really boils down to a fundamental clash of values. The Pentagon wants to use Anthropic's AI, named Claude, for all lawful purposes. And that includes things like weapon systems. But Anthropic is flat out refusing, pointing to its own strict rules against using its AI for things like fully autonomous weapons or mass surveillance. So why is Anthropic digging its heels in so hard? Well, it all comes down to their core technology, something they call constitutional AI. The simplest way to think about it is like a set of ethical principles that are literally hard-coded right into the AI's architecture. It's like a conscience that guides its behavior and stops it from being used for bad stuff. And this is where the rubber really meets the road. During security tests, researchers try to jailbreak these AIs. Basically, they try to trick them into breaking their own rules. Now, while other models got tricked up to 20% of the time, Anthropic's Claude model was way more resistant. They only succeeded about 5% of the time. That's a huge difference. This whole conflict, this can we versus should we, it gets way more urgent when you see this tech being rolled out not in some lab, but at a massive global scale. Just look at Amazon, for instance. What they've done is transform their entire supply chain into this giant self-learning machine. They're running 100 warehouses almost entirely with AI agents, and they have over 1 million robots working. And the result? They've slashed the time it takes to process an item by up to 75%. That's how stuff gets to your door faster than ever. Okay, so that all sounds like a logistical dream, right? But there's a flip side, a dark side. The very same AI tools that create all that efficiency can also put workers under constant surveillance, even leading to people being fired by an algorithm. And all that customer data they're collecting, it creates a massive tempting target for cyber attacks. So with all these risks popping up, what's the response? Well, companies like Microsoft are scrambling to build these incredibly complex security systems. Their new platform is designed to build trust by watching AI agents in real time, and it can block any suspicious behavior in less than 100 milliseconds. I mean, that's literally faster than you can blink. Okay, so you see all these different threads, right? The shaky supply chains, the ethical fights over AI, the risks of automation. They all tie together. They all converge on one central problem: And it turns out the biggest challenge facing tech today isn't technical at all. And this is not just some philosophical debate. The economic fallout here is absolutely devastating. When a report came out showing that a shocking 95% of pilot AI projects in big companies were failing, US tech stocks lost $1 trillion in value. That is a massive signal that the market is losing faith. And that brings us right back to where we started, that 60% failure rate. But now we can finally see why. It's not a failure of the algorithm. It's a failure of human trust. When you actually dig into why they fail, it's fascinating. It's not the code that's breaking, it's the human stuff. It's things like messy data because nobody set up good rules. It's untrained staff writing bad instructions for the AI. It's people using unapproved AI tools on the side. And it's projects that just never make it out of the lab and into the real world. So, a big report from the Gartner Summit kind of nails it. It basically concludes that the path forward isn't just more powerful tech. No, the solution is better governance, better training, and a real deliberate focus on rebuilding the trust between people and the systems they're being asked to use. So, where does all this leave us? I think it leaves us with a really critical question for our time. Technology is moving forward at this absolutely breathtaking pace, creating things we could only dream of a few years ago. But are we actually building a future we can trust? If we want the answer to be yes, we've got to start paying just as much attention to the human side of the equation as we do to the technology itself.